Hello and welcome to this episode of Animal World Live with me, Brent and Wium, where we have a special guest, Suyash, all the way from Delhi in India. Hello and welcome back. We do apologize for the quality of the stream. It is a bit lower than we normally put out. We are out in the field at the moment, and due to the 21-day lockdown here in South Africa and both in India, a lot of the Wi-Fi networks and stuff are at capacity, so we have had to drop the quality of the stream a little bit. So we do apologize for that, but I'm sure all of you understand with what's going on in the world today. So we made the plan to get out of the dog den where we all live, which is my house in the Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate, and we have a massive thank you to say to the Steenbergs who kindly allowed us to come stay in the old farmhouse, which they use for their holidays and stuff on Blowbank on the Rietspruit Game Reserve. On the Rietspruit Game Reserve in the middle, or actually in the southwestern corner if you want to be precise, of the Rietspruit Game Reserve, and it has been absolutely amazing. The wild dogs have decided to take up residence around the house since we've been here, which has been absolutely great. So guys, please remember to keep your questions until a little bit later. Your questions for Suyash about tigers and other Indian wildlife. Of course, at the moment, we have all our live cams out. The SAST cam, the baboons did some damage too, so hopefully that'll be up and running by tomorrow. A lot of you might have noticed that the live cams are not up at the moment, and again, that is so we can bring you this broadcast of Animal World Live. That is why you are not able to see the live cams. After we are finished with Animal World Live, the live cams will be up. There is some massive storms rolling in at the moment. You might hear some thunder crashing behind me. So now, without further ado, let us go have a look at what animals came to visit the live cams. You might even see the naughty baboon who caused the damage. Oh, hello, you just caught me taking a sip of hot coffee, and of course there's a lanky individual next to me. There's none other than Brian. Brian.
Hello, everybody.
Brian, what have you been up to?
Well, this week has been quite stressful. We have moved our entire operation to the middle of the bush, which is fantastic because this place is absolutely phenomenal. So that move over the last couple of days was quite, as I said, it was a little bit here and there. But we're here now, and we're streaming live, even though it's...
And how many times have you seen wild dogs since you've been here?
More times than I can count on both hands.
We've been very, very lucky with the wild dogs. Now, those of you who follow us on Instagram will have noticed we put up something on Instagram TV today, which is, of course, the 21-day, 22 tree species challenge.
That's right. So last night we was chatting around the table, and I threw something out there, and
mistake.
And Charles, the financial manager, and Brent over here took it to heart, and now Charles and I are going to identify 22 trees in and around the house with a wild card. The wild card is the tree that we have to go research ourselves and
identify. Yeah, so it's actually 23 trees.
It is, yeah.
It's actually 23 trees in 21 days. Now, what he's failing to say is that I want the common name, the scientific name.
That's it.
At least 2 interesting facts, and if it does have medicinal uses as well.
Fair. We'll report back in 21 days.
Yes, and I'll be keeping you updated on Instagram, so keep a lookout for those Instagram videos about the tree training around the house. Oh, thank you, Olnick. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Yvonne. So that's going to be very cool. So this is your first real delve in the training wise into the trees.
It is. This is like boot camp. I feel it's
Yes.
very hardcore within a very short space of time, and I think I can handle it. I've gone through worse. So
Now, if those of you who watched the Instagram TV video, Charles is refusing to do the scientific names, but hopefully a little bit of competition between him and Brian might get him to do it as well. Okay, let's have a look. Marashi, let's keep those questions for when we've got Suyash on there with the African Indian related wildlife stuff. So don't forget it, please. You might have to pop it up again. But yes, so don't forget that. We'll cover that a little bit later. Yes, so there we go. Samantha says bark camp. You're going to learn lots of bark. So of course it's been really, really great, and Brian has learned a lot. He's going to be continuing with scientific names. What is the next animal we're going to be doing on scientific names explained?
Tragelaphus scriptus.
Now, you're not going to get more than that. You're going to have to try to figure out what that is, or wait for Brian's video to tell you exactly what the scientific name is, or the common name for that animal is. Okay, cool. Noel is asking, why are we doing 21 days in the bush when we live in the bush? So, Noel, we sort of live in the bush. We live on the wildlife estate, which is just outside town. So we do have animals and stuff around, but we don't have lions and cheetahs and wild dogs actually sometimes. However, the whole of South Africa, due to the coronavirus, is on a 21-day lockdown. We are not allowed to leave your house. So the wildlife estate, because it's right next to town and is sort of a suburb of town, even if we were there, we wouldn't be able to leave the house. So we've moved out into the Rietspruit Reserve, about 15,500 acres. So our lockdown garden is a little bit bigger than what we would have been facing if we had stayed in town. Okay, well, isn't that wonderful? Now, thank you, Brian, for your update.
Absolute pleasure. Can't see you guys soon.
Yes, we're going to be seeing quite a lot more Brian. Oh, and I nearly forgot. You're going to be meeting Casey quite soon as well. Casey is out here with us, and she's going to be helping with the training of Charles and Brian in the trees. And maybe she'll be doing something in front of camera for you guys in this next 21 days. So quite exciting stuff. I see there's quite a few questions. Jamie is unfortunate on lockdown with her mother in Johannesburg. She wasn't able to get out here to the bush. So she is with her mom. They're safe. They are locked down in her mom's house in Johannesburg. Okay, now without further ado, we've got a very special guest all the way from India, and he's going to be, well, we're going to be chatting about Indian wildlife, and I can't wait to learn a little bit more about tigers and bears and Asian elephants and things. So without further ado, we're going to give you a little introduction to Suyash.
Making me hungry.
Isn't that absolutely amazing? I am so jealous. I cannot wait to get to India one day to experience some of those incredible animals. How amazing are the alarm calls of that deer? Whoa! Whoa! I think that's sort of okay. So, but without further ado, let's jump across and meet Suyash. Suyash. Okay, we're swapping cameras, and I think everyone can see now. I'm just going to have to move this a little bit so I can see your questions. Okay, so now is your chance, guys. I'm going to let Suyash chat to you, introduce himself a little bit better, and I'm going to see what questions come up for him.
Cool. Yeah, hi guys. Brent, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Suyash Keshari, everyone. I am from India. I grew up in central India in and amongst wildlife. Tigers are my passion, and I've been growing up following the lives of several tigers in central India. The films that you just saw is from Safari.
Trying to bring it back.
It's coming back. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Which camera am I on? Main camera. Hi guys. Sorry about that. As I said, the internet is very iffy at the moment with South Africa on lockdown and India on lockdown. Lots of people using all the bandwidth, but we are back. Hello. Everyone who went away, you must come back now. We're live again. You guys out there, give me a hand, just tweet, shout, tell everyone else that we're back live. It's great to have you back. So while we're waiting for everyone to join us again, unfortunately technology and anyway, we got some nice questions here. I think there's someone saying hello to you. There's Suyash Parimal. How Brent, Brian and Suyash. Suyash is going to be the next big thing in the Indian wildlife industry for sure.
Thank you so much. I hope so. Thank you. My heart.
And we've got a question here from Steffi Marks for you. Are tigers social, gregarious cats or loners?
Tigers are not social cats as lions are, but however, it will be false to say that they're not social at all. When they're raising cubs, tigers' mothers specifically stay with the cubs until the cubs are about 2 years old. And people might think, most of the documentaries say that, oh, it's the tiger mother sending the cubs away. That's why the cubs just move away. No, ecologically, tigers want to live among themselves. And just quite like lions, they don't like sharing food. We know that lions share food only grudgingly. So you see lions fighting with each other while sharing food. Tigers, it's quite another deal. Even with cubs, if a cub has a carcass, it will be protective of the carcass from its siblings and from its mother as well. So I think that bond just breaks them apart sooner or later. And that's when the tiger cubs start forming new territories. And with the males and females, they are often seen together, especially with the dominant male will come and see the females. A dominant male would cover anywhere between 100 and 200 square kilometers. And then he might have 4 or 5, even 10 females in the territory and would come to say hi. Just a bachelor roaming around saying hi to his girlfriends. So that's the only times the tigers are social cats, quite unlike lions, which are living in prides.
And we got another one here from Coast Cider. Suyash, are tigers more prone to attack humans according to the geography of the area they're in?
That's an interesting question. There have been a lot of misleading documentaries about man-eating tigers of India. I want to be very, very certain in answering this question. The tiger or any wild cat, any big cat only turns man-eater for a few reasons. Number one is usually that it's very injured or really old and subsiding near human settlements. So it's not necessarily attacking humans because of thirst for humans. It's usually scared of humans. And when a human ventures too close to it, it just attacks in self-defense. There have been a few cases where a big cat, leopard or tiger, or even lions in India would try attacking humans, but that's been very, very short fraction of it. Yes, a lot of Indian national parks and reserves boundaries are next to huge civilizations, and that can increase human-animal conflict. That's where we have to be very careful in managing these wild areas, in making sure that we have big fences next to the villages at least, so that the cattle doesn't come in, people don't come into the reserve, and also the animals don't go out into the villages. Hope that answered the question.
Managing human wildlife conflict, and it's a problem throughout any part of the world where you have wild animals in close proximity to people and domestic animals.
And absolutely, you have to remember, in a place like Africa, there aren't as many people, and there's still so many human-animal conflicts. It's only a miracle that with 1.3 billion people, tigers are still able to survive, and so are leopards, snow leopards, clouded leopards. You name it, we have everything: lions, elephants, rhinos.
It is absolutely incredible. So here's one from Lucas Walter. Suyash, I'm a keen photographer and I want to get tigers on camera. What advice could you give to have a great experience? Time of the year, location, minimum duration in a reserve, and which operator, etc.?
Awesome. All of that, just contact me. I'll get you sorted. I also take people on a real Safari with Suyash experience. So come with me. Just DM me on Instagram, Facebook. We can connect. But simply, if you want to travel alone, I would suggest a few things. Usually, the winter time is amazing for tigers. Summer is as well, if you can tolerate the heat, because in the summer you'll find them next to watering holes. The reason I personally like wintertime is because of the lighting. It's nice and soft, it filters through the canopy, and it illuminates the forest paths in nice golden lighting. And to get tigers in that is perfect. Also, in summertime, tigers are crepuscular, just most like other wild cats, especially like lions also are crepuscular. So tigers are crepuscular, which means they're only active right around dawn and before dawn and right after dusk. So in summers, that is even heightened because India reaches 48 degrees, 49 degrees Celsius in the summertime. Our summertime is April, May, June, and part of July. So I would recommend, those times are good for tigers, but I would just highly warn you, if you're not a person who can tolerate the heat, don't come that time. National Park, Ranthambore, Kanha National Park, the central Indian landscape is fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we are apologizing that we've got a massive thunderstorm and it is causing a little bit of problem with the signal, but we're going to continue for now. A big thank you to Marcy, Leopard Lady. Thank you so much, Marcy. Firebird would like to know, how large is a tiger's territory or home range? Now, I suppose we can talk about the males and the females.
Yeah. So I think, there is not one. What recent scientific studies have found, usually people used to think tigers can roam between females 15 and 40 square kilometers, males between 50 and 200 square kilometers. But what scientists have now found out is it depends on the carrying capacity of the region. So for example, in a place like Bandhavgarh National Park, it's one of the most densely populated, oh wow, that lightning. Bandhavgarh is one of the densely populated national parks in India, so it can support tigers 10 square kilometers per female tiger, and for males about 40 to 50 square kilometers. But in other reserves where prey density is less, where water is not in that much quantity, male tigers cover anywhere between 200 and 500 square kilometers some places, even 300, 400 square kilometers at a usual range. And there a female would cover between 40 and 80 square kilometers. And the reason males' territories are larger than females is because the males try to cover a few females within their territories. But another thing that recent scientific studies have found out is there are also loner tigers or tigers which are so-called non-territorial. So they live within the dominant tiger's territory and coexisting without any conflict. So within a male's territory might be 5 other males, which I have noticed myself in Bandhavgarh, and those 5 other males are non-dominant. They just stay they stay in the territory of the male, don't fight, don't get the right to mate. The dominant male mates first. But tigresses are cheeky. They mate with several males just to make sure that their breeding potential is heightened. And there's a big question mark in scientists' head, which I hope gets clarified soon. Just like in cats, domestic cats can air or can have the babies of multiple male cats. Can tigers do that? That's something we don't know yet.
Really, really interesting because, for example, you have male lions who have a very similar sort of outlook that aren't able to join into a coalition or strong enough to take over a territory from a coalition as loners, and they basically sneak around, not quite as like with the males. They don't actually live inside another male lion's territory, but they sneak around the edges and they still continue to mate on the edges, but they move vast distances and actually don't have a home range or a territory, and they just keep moving. So that's very, very interesting. Okay, I saw a really good one here. And guys, I do apologize. You can probably see the lightning behind me. It is quite fierce, and the storm is getting closer, rolling over the Drakensberg. So there was a question about, yes, have you seen black bears and sloth bears? And are the threats of the bears in India similar to that of the big cats?
Yeah, I've seen sloth bears. I have not seen the Indian. So sloth bears are basically regular size, a little smaller than black bears. They have this white kind of ring around their chest. That's what they're named as sloth bears. It's not because they're slow like the sloth. I have seen sloth bears. I have not seen black bears. They're high up in the mountains in the north. Yes, the big cats and the bears and all wildlife in India face nearly the same threats. Bears, especially nowadays, are having a huge problem because in a lot of Asian countries, bear bile juice is used to make traditional medicine that's supposed to cure cancer and have all these properties which are scientifically not proven. Recently, a certain country has started using bear bile juice to treat coronavirus, and obviously that's not going to help coronavirus either. But that's just such a huge detriment to the bear paw parts of Asia.
That is traditional medicines. It's going to take time for us to be able to change those things. And a lot of people get quite angry, but
so education and time, and hopefully with those two things we can change the world. Now the bear question ties into one from Maharashi, and that's, hi Brent, Suyash, two things I'd like you guys to address. Why are there no bears in Africa and so many bears and wolves in India? Okay, I'm gonna let you go first.
Really? So honestly, I don't know the exact reason behind it. I would guess, in terms of my reading, that when the continents broke up, bears found it as a species. Africa's habitat not happened. We do have wolves in northern Africa. The Ethiopian wolf, not quite like the wolves you see in India or Americas. But that's my guess.
There are actually remnant populations of grey wolves in Africa, Egypt, Morocco, but they look far more like a golden jackal. But genetically, they are actually grey wolves. So that's actually a recent stuff in the last 5 to 10 years that's come out.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I always find that stuff amazing.
What do you think?
So I'm just going to ask. I'm gonna get you now. I'm just sorry, Wimpy. Can you just check
quickly? So there's quite a lot of different reasons why, but mostly yes, Suyash was spot on. The climate isn't really conducive to bears, even though sloth bears and other Asian bear species do deal with hot climates quite well. But after the continent split, they evolved in those areas and never crossed the land bridge into Africa. So that land bridge has been up and down. So between there's a couple of land bridges. So at one stage the Sahara was actually a big open grassland and a wet grassland, very similar to the Masai Mara, obviously not quite as high, not as high rainfall, and the ocean levels were a lot lower than they are today. And that has happened many times over millennia, that water has gone up and down. But bears, we're losing stream. Again, we apologize, guys. It could be this big storm behind us. But so let's try. We'll definitely get Suyash back on again when we've got better weather and maybe better internet. And as I said, hopefully one day we'll get him live sitting next to me. Yo, did you see that lightning? That was insane. So we're going to take, I think, 3 more questions. And then, unfortunately, as I said, the weather is playing havoc with us today, but we'll chat to Suyash again soon. So let's try. Actually, I'm going to think, because the storm is about to hit us. Let me go. I'm going to go random. I'm just scrolling, and I'm going to pick a random question. Michael Fleetwood, what percentage of female tigers are actually successful with conceiving after mating?
Oh, interesting question. I think I don't know the exact percentage because it depends on the population, their genetics, their area that they surround. Because remember, we have 51 tiger reserves in India and more than 51 places where tigers are found in India. So every single tiger reserve will have a little bit of a different genetic makeup within a tiger population. And those genetic makeup, they're not a different species, but they have a little bit of a genetic makeup because of the surrounding, the topography, the prey available, etc. So because of that, it will depend on those factors, along with a female's ability, or rather not the female's ability, the male and the female, when they mate, and the amount of times the copulation happens and the success rate, it all depends on those. Female between 3 and 4 years of age is ready to mate and ready to give her first birth. And usually I have seen most of the matings be successful. And recent studies that I've seen shows between 70 to 80% success rate. But again, that again depends from individual to individual and place to place.
Okay, thank you so much, Suyash. We are having a huge amount of technical difficulties. As I said, we're gonna reschedule a proper chat with Suyash when we don't have thunder, lightning, and 25% of the world using bandwidth. So we're gonna do one last question, and then we're gonna play a little bit of a longer clip of Suyash, and then normally I'd come back and say hi, bye, and all that type of stuff, but I'll do that now, and then straight after Suyash's clip, I did promise you guys a little catch up on the Melita pack, so we'll probably try play those. It's less likely to break up than what we're doing at the moment. So one last question before the rain and thunder and lightning roll in. And oh, my dad just messaged. My dad just is correcting both of us. Bears did not come to Africa because they could not cross the deserts of the Middle East. So even while the Sahara was a grassland, the deserts of the Middle East stopped the bears. Thanks, Dad. You never stop learning from your parents. Do tigers have a longer lifespan than lions or leopards in the wild? That's an interesting one. I'm not actually quite sure how long a tiger lives for.
So a tiger in the wild would survive anywhere between 12 and 15 years. That being said,
So about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same for lions, tigers, and leopards, for all the big cats. But we have seen a few tigers, even a few lions and leopards in India recorded on the film and photographs living up to 15, 18, and even 21 years in the wild, which is unheard of. But that's a very minute population, just 1 or 2 individuals in a decade.
Okay, thanks so much, Suyash. We are going to do this again very soon. Unfortunately, the weather has played havoc on us, so we're going to send you across to a clip from Suyash's series, Safari with Suyash. Keep a lookout on our social media to see where you can watch it. We will be posting links of that after the show. And a big thank you to all our Patreons. This would not be possible without you. And to LED Lenser providing the wonderful light around us. And all our supporters who are on super chats everywhere. And we understand for those of you who can't support financially, please just keep sharing and subscribing. The Painted Dog TV pack is eternally grateful. And very big thank you again to Suyash for joining us. So let's go look at this video.
Our planet holds many secrets. Few will never be revealed. Some remain unexplored. And others you have to see with your own eyes to believe. What better way to do that? My goal is to ignite that curiosity through a beautiful, raw, and epic adventure. What we can see, we can love, and what we can love, we will fight to protect.
Back to me. Sorry about that, guys. The storm is now literally on top. We're gonna have to rush inside. But again, a thank you to everyone. Thank you so much. We're gonna Wium, we're gonna try play the Melita pack, or we're gonna just pop it online. Okay, so guys, unfortunately the storm is gonna stop us being able to play the Melita pack during the live show, the Melita pack update. So, guys. Dog, nighttime, not outside, please. Thank you. My hound escaped. Okay, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you again. Oh my God, lost the stream. It's coming back up. Okay, sorry, we're back. Bye! Wium is going to put the Melita Pack update online now. Go check it out. PaintedDog.tv on YouTube. Thank you again, everyone, for bearing with us with the tech difficulties this evening.